welcome to BCC Virtual Racing and tonight's race, the Two Bridges Loop, 28.9 kilometres long, 320 metres of climbing over 4 laps of 7.1 kilometres each. Fairly undulating course, certainly for the first half. The climb, which is 600 odd metres long, 5% average, a peak of about 12%, comes at about 4.5k. 25 riders so far from BCC, and last time I looked, about 160 other riders. So a large field tonight, hosted by the Glasgow Green Cycle Club. 1 minute roughly to go, as is the normal format with these races. Each category, A, B, C and D, starts at 1 minute intervals. Category D only I should say, rides 3 laps, 21.8k, so a little bit shorter for them. Everything to fight for now in the Autumn Combination League. Now, I'm not so sure if Davis is in any way beatable at this stage, but we'll see what happens. At least within his category, I should say. Overall, let's have a look and see what's happening. In fact, let's just make sure I don't miss the start. So overall, yes, Angus in first, Davis second, Shannon third, Lancia distant fourth. Will Davis get beaten? Well, I hope Angus keeps Angus is ahead, but keeps pushing on that and keeps Davis in second place. It'll be the first time that's happened since we started these series. So 5 seconds to go now, starting with category A. And the riders are off. And let's see if we can get the first rider on screen. Oh, it's gone back to riders waiting in the other pens now, so we'll just be careful. See if we can find a BCC rider. A few riders from Wickham riding tonight. There's Scott Rowland. I've just seen Matt Tom as well. Angus has entered. Haven't seen him on screen yet. Katie Jury's in there. And there is Katie, in fact, just trying to grab hold of someone. So that is the field for category A. Cat B will be following in about 35 seconds time. 0.3k in 26 minutes as they head up now towards the volcano. It's a sort of 2 to 3% climb, so a gentle gradient all the way up. Matt Tom there. Jury holding 220 watts, Hart at 150, so not pushing hard yet. I'm just looking there at other riders around. We do have, so the highest rated rider tonight is Bennett. Just trying to see where he is on screen, but can't see him at the moment, so that's one to watch for. And we'll pop back now while the category A gets underway and have a look at Cat B. Much larger field, of course, which is not a great surprise. And they are now 1 minute behind Ketley in their Collier. And in Cat B last Thursday in the Beaconsfield Cricket Club race number 8, it was won by Quebrada, followed by Bracky, then Charles, and a good fourth from Ketley. Collier. Power-ups coming out already. That's a bit of a surprise at only 700 metres in. And they are now on that gradient all the way up towards the volcano. This particular course, Two Bridges, but it is a sort of an amalgamation of the hilly loops. Uses a cut through halfway up the KOM. Another rider I hadn't seen at the start, Walker. I'm sure that's Alex Walker. I just saw the name scroll past on the screen. And we should be coming up for the start of Cat C. So we'll have a look at them getting underway. Campbell in that field as well. Oliver White. So there is Cat C now on the move. Last week's race was won by Ware. Good second place from Hindley, then Shannon and Marcus Stoneham. White up the front at the moment, along with Nixon. Not sure he'll hold that, but nonetheless, Jones in there, Shannon in there, Crook from Wickham, regular competitor. And Cat C is by far, at least the last time I looked, the largest field in the race, which is fairly typical. So this arguably is where the more intense competition occurs. And we have 3 riders tonight in Cat D. I'll just go back and see if we can see them get underway. Not yet. Oh, there they are, in fact. Can't see any of the BCC Cat D riders just at the moment. There's Telford, I can indeed. I saw that Lord and Slipper had also entered, but no sign of them just at the moment. And Hindley, I'm not sure what's going on with him. He must have a technical problem of some description, but after coming second on Thursday, he now finds himself right at the very back of Cat C. 18 seconds behind Plant, Steve Plant, who is 6 seconds behind Stoneham. And Tamsin is there as well. And a further 4 seconds up the field, Dave Sampson. And nice to see Albert May just drifting away from the group. Doesn't look as if he's going to be able to hold on. But ahead of him, nonetheless, is Measham, Shannon, White, Reed and Warre. Now, as the race is 2 minutes 40 for those riders, 3:58 for Cat B. As Quebrada has got the green jersey, good result from him. And at about 2k, I think it is the sprint. And at the moment, highest place rider is Katie Jury at 12.92. Looks as if it's Scott Rowland at 13.21, Matt Tom 13.38. So great riding from Katie. And now Katie's got the green jersey for the ladies. I'm just trying to have a look and see if Stoneham's in there. I can't. Oh, there he is. Unusually up towards the front, but this is at 4.1k as the riders go up towards the giant statues of the cyclists. There's a little bit of a downhill here, but it very quickly starts to climb. And as I said earlier, average is around 5%, but the peak is about 12%. And from the top of the climb, this is a great opportunity to push hard over the summit, as it is downhill all the way to the finish. And here is one of the other bridges. So very shortly, we'll just stay with these riders just to see what happens as the climb begins. See if it splits the group up at all. At the moment, this Cat A group all quite neatly together. Cat B just appearing on screen on the right behind, 1 minute 10 seconds further back, so they've lost 10 seconds on Cat A, or Cat A have gained 10 seconds, or maybe 5 each, but there's a 10-second separation. There's Quebrada and Jury on the right hand side, both with their green jerseys. Now at 5k the climb begins. Stoneham has drifted further back into the peloton, the Cat A peloton, probably exactly where he wants to be. And this is looking now at the field from the rear. No other riders coming up behind at this stage. And we'll just have a look. This is Matt Tom. So this rider, Kawasaki, is he? No, I thought might be trying for a bit of a break, but no, that's not the case. but this rider most certainly is. Tabling, if that's how it's pronounced. Apologies if it's not. Has put a big push on there and has pulled 5 seconds away from the chasing group just as the rider goes through the cut through, and we'll begin shortly a descent towards the finish and the end of lap 1. So that gap is staying fairly consistent. Stoneham and Tom now at 5.9 kilometers, 8 minutes 31 seconds, and possible to see the downhill here. Riders will use super tuck. In fact, most of them are there, and this certainly suits the larger riders. They will get up to speed quickly, and if they take advantage of that first descent, they could pull out a bit of a gap. There is Stoneham. Roland looks as if, yes, Roland is drifting away from the back of Cat A, as he has done in the last few races, and as he knows what's happening, I suspect now he will move towards the back of the field and the front, I should say, of Cat B. And Jury suffered the same fate by the looks of it. Can just see Roland ahead of her now, and undoubtedly she'll take advantage of that. Both these riders. No, she's decided to lead from the front there. A 12-second gap. That's a bit of an ask at this stage in the race. This course, oh, she's waving at someone, waving at Scott. That's quite nice. So maybe she's indicating that let's ride together. And there they come up to the end of lap 1. And that is the finish banner. 3 more laps to go for these riders. And let's have a look now. The gap backwards, I should say, to Cat B is down to 35 seconds. And in fact, the gap between Cat A and Cat B has closed by 10 seconds as well. And up the front of Cat B is Campbell at the moment, just as he crosses the line along with Brackey right next to him. Strachan from Wickham is in there as well, as is Sandy Thompson from GGCC. Of course, not to be outdone, Davis is bound to be in the mix somewhere. There he is. Off the back of the pack, though, I'm sure that's only temporary. But certainly off the back is Empson. It's getting strung out there along with Quebrada, who won Cat B for BCC last time, but he is distanced as well. He is dropping off that little group that includes Empson just in front of him. And Ketley and Taft, by the looks of it, have gone on pop and are out the back. And the difference in this race, the start and the twisty S's section is fairly undulating up down, which is tiring for riders. Then the KOM itself makes it all quite difficult. Looks as if Taff is dropping away from Ketley. That is Ketley 4 seconds ahead, and Ketley can see ahead of him Quebrada. So I'm not sure what's going on with Quebrada. Has the green jersey. Clearly has been riding well. And there's Empson 7 seconds further up ahead of Ketley next to Quebrada. So we'll leave Cat B for the moment at 8k. Collier actually just on the way back. Collier and Walker at 7.9k. As we go back and have a look at the large field in Cat C. So it looks as if from BCC, Reed and Shannon are at the front. Just having a look around now, see who else is in this group. I think it may just be Reed and Shannon. Crook from Wickham. next riders, Nixon 5 seconds further back. Nixon has dropped off that group. There he is, and that is the group ahead. That's the one that contains Shannon and Reed. Nixon now at 7.8 kilometers, and behind him White further 11 seconds back. So White's initial charge didn't last for too long by the looks of it, but here is, just behind him is Ware, the winner of Cat C on Thursday night. So he looks to be having a tough time as well. And Peter Jones, just have a look and see. No, he is by himself. But nonetheless, by no means last. Behind him, Sampson. And this looks like another small peloton of group Cat C riders. So Sampson may in here. And behind them, though, Hindley. So Hindley finished ahead of Shannon on Thursday, but now finds himself right towards the back of this group, or category C even. So something's happened. Same might be said of Stoneham. I hope he's not on a TT bike again. No, he's not. And then in the category D riders, and just as a reminder, they have one less lap, 3 laps. I just saw Steve Plant there, Cat C. I think, in all fairness to Steve, this is only, he's wobbling around all over the course there. Not sure what's going on. I think this is only his 4th or 5th race. But behind him, there is Lord for the first time on screen. And I have not seen Telford. Telford is 53 seconds further back, so Lord is riding very nicely. An Amersham rider in there by the looks of it, Bowker. Right. So 14 minutes in, about a third of the way there, roughly. Moving back towards the front of the field, through category B, up to Cat A now. And there is Stoneham. Now, looks as if he's going off on a solo charge. He saw Tabling make that break earlier on and pull out a bit of a distance, not a huge gap, but it looks as if Stoneham has maintained that gap. Now he's got to think carefully about this. Out by himself, there's a chasing peloton trying to close him down. One other rider coming up behind now, just 1 second back, and he is, in all fairness, closing that gap to Cumming and Trabling. And this is where I expect Stoneham. He's in between different groups. Climbing is one of his strengths, and he is going for it. Holding 400 odd watts, 6.2 watts per kilo. The riders ahead are responding a bit, but the gap is closing. Tabling looks as if he is not keeping up the pace quite as much as Cumming. No, that's not fair. He is increasing the pace right now, but so is Stoneham. Everything they do, Stoneham matches and a little bit more. This is the steepest part of the course, just as they go around the corner where it hits 12%. Flattens out slightly now, then climbs up again. And Stoneham has successfully closed the gap and will end up now sitting on the wheel of these two riders. So that brave move from them didn't work. They hadn't counted on Angus catching them up. But he's done just that. So the question is, what happens now? I think perhaps Stoneham a little bit of time to rest if he can. And I suspect another break is in him. So we'll see what happens there. Now, importantly, what's happening behind. So the chasing peloton about 10 seconds further back, which includes Tom. And the gap to Cat, just as we go back there, we're just having a look actually. Jury and Roland have joined in with Cat B as expected. Campbell's got a green jersey this time round. Good result for him. And there is Charles actually getting closer and closer to category A. 12.7k, 17 minutes 48. $2k, well, just over 2k, under 2k until they reach the halfway mark. So an unusual race today. Riders that I expect to see up the front are down the back, and ones that I expect to see at the back are up towards the front. So there we are, Cat C. The front of Cat C is about 38 seconds away from the main, not the main, no, the rear group of Cat B, which has Walker, Collier going up the steep corner. There's the 10, 11%, and that looks as if it's someone on a TT bike trying to keep up with Walker. No, not that rider. Not Walker, is it? It is. Walker is on a TT bike. Another fatal error. He will be suffering no advantage from the draft at all. And can't super tuck either. So he shot himself in the foot on that one. Here is Ketley Tough. And who else do we have on the downhill? Finish line is off there to the right as the road loops underneath in the super tuck. 0 watts. Should start pedaling. He does. He just starts pedaling, as I said. So Quebrada is 23 seconds further ahead, along with Jury and Empson. So in Cat C is where I was heading. Looks as if Chris Reed is still leading the charge from a Cat C perspective. There he is. In fact, it looks as if this group is beginning to stretch out, and I dare say the downhill will make a bit of a difference. Reed should have an advantage here if he just gives it a bit of a kick, not taking advantage of the super tuck. So really riders need to push hard over the top of that hill, get into that super tuck as quickly as they possibly can. Take just 10 seconds to have a rest. It will make all the difference. And as it flattens out, as they cross the bridge, start pedaling once more. But to really take advantage, can't just wait for the super tuck to arrive. Need to make that kick at the top. Now Ware still well down on the leading C riders. White sitting just a few seconds behind. 4 seconds further back, should catch a glimpse. I suspect that is Ware just about to go around the corner, but behind him 36 seconds further back, so it looks as if White's having a good ride now, but Nixon is fairly by himself. Measham has a whole pack of riders around him. He's a further 39 seconds behind Nixon, and right next to him is Sampson. There is Sampson on screen now, 300 watts, good power output, 4.3 watts per kilo, as he comes up to the steepest part of the course on tonight's race. And 5 seconds further back, Jones just not quite holding on to that group ahead. 11 seconds behind him, with Jones in front, is Hindley. So not going as well for him as it did on Thursday night. And it looks as if the same can be said of Stoneham, actually. Not riding at his best. Booth, Tamsin seems to be doing quite well. Just having a look at her average par. Yes, she's holding her own there. Hopefully can gain a couple of places on the riders ahead. And while I see them on screen, we'll have a look back at Cat B. No Lance here tonight, which is a disappointment. At least I haven't seen him. A little chance of beating Davis if he doesn't turn up. But of course that is one of the key tactics to winning the league, is turn up for every race. And you might just get there. But of course you've got to be in it to win it. Campbell still holding the green jersey. Now at 17 kilometres. Charles in that group, along with Davis, Thompson from GGCC. Davis, of course, rode Thursday in Cat A and made a good job of it as well. Rowland in here too. Let's go back up to the front and see if Stoneham has managed to hold the chasing peloton. So Tom has drifted towards the back of the Cat A peloton, but I've no doubt that's a tactical move. So here we have Stoneham tabling, and was it coming, I think, still out the front. In fact, they have pulled away from the chasing A group, and they've increased that gap by another 10 seconds or so to 14 seconds. So likely that these riders will now stay together unless the chasing pack decides to actually work well together. I don't think they'll catch. I'm not sure what this little symbol next to Walker means, that little building arrow shaped thing, but anyway. So now Stoneham back to his normal position, trying to draft as much as he can. It's a tactic that has worked extremely well for him. No reason why it shouldn't work now as they go up the climb one more time. Just beginning to lap the back of the Cat D field. In fact, will overtake Lord in no time at all, 10 seconds. In fact, that will be her in the group just ahead. Let's see if she notices on the way past. Might get her view. And there they are, Stoneham and Co. pushing through. Almost make the other riders look as if they've stopped. 19.7k, 26 minutes into the Two Bridges loop. Someone else on a TT bike. So the gap now, this is where it gets a little bit exciting. So the gap has increased to 17, 18 seconds from the chasing pack. And we'll go up a little bit more now as they go downhill. And once they get to the bottom this time, there's one more lap to the finish. So we'll come back to Stoneham in due course. Hopefully miss him at the finish. And here is the leading group now of Category B. Scott Rowland out the front, Cat A, and I'm sure Jury's in there as well. But a whole collection of BCC riders in this group at 19.6 kilometres and 28 minutes into the race. Doing this climb at race pace once is hard enough, but doing it 4 times is not without its difficulties. But this is where the attacks come. There's Quebrada. There is Jury. And the impact you could see that this race is having now on the rest of the riders. Taff and Ketley are a further 40 seconds behind that leading group of B riders, so quite a big gap there. But Ketley doing well, holding in there with Empson and Taff. And further back, Collier, further 40 seconds back. Just looking for Campbell. I haven't seen him for a while, but I'm sure he's still in there somewhere. And let's have a look now. Category C, looks as if it's Reed still charging out the front for BCC. Bowker from Amersham in there. Walker right next to him as well. So that's nice to see. Walker's giving him a bit of competition. And behind them, another 1 minute 50 further back is Nixon. Sampson another 30 seconds back, along with May and Measham by the looks of it. Jones is closing the gap. But Stoneham, definitely something not quite right there. Unless it's just a lack of fitness. Does happen, of course. Can't all put out huge power every week. And back up the front. No. Getting more and more interesting, this. Still the same 3 riders, Cummings, Stoneham and Tabling, are now 22 seconds ahead of the chasing bunch of Cat A riders. That includes Matt Tom. There is Tom in that large group. I think there's unless something goes wrong and these riders up the front have miscalculated it, I think there's very little chance of this group catching, although it is entirely possible. There are some 10-15 riders there. That does make a difference. If it was just a little easier on Zwift, they could rotate around almost continuously, and I think they'd gain that extra few percentage points they need, and they would close the gap. But easy to say, very hard to do. So coming up for 23k, this race 28.9. So about 6 kilometers left now to go. This will be over fairly quickly. And I'll just double check Cat D. Now they're at 15.2. So they've got about 6k left to go as well to their finish. And riders now beginning to lap. It's just on the way back. Steve Plant still wobbling around on his bike. Makes me feel a bit ill watching that. But anyway, up the front of Cat B, Charles, Brackey, Thompson from GGCC, Davis are in this leading group here. Rotating around fairly nicely. I'm sure Brackey must be in there as well, as a guess. Can't see him. and they are now coming up for 23 kilometers. Moving further back, if I can just grab one of the riders here on screen. So there is Campbell, just catching up with Rowland, a further 17 seconds back, so he must have been in that group until that last climb, and they have dropped him. But he is well ahead of Jury, in fact about another 50 seconds as far as I can see, so he's riding very nicely. Jury along with Quebrada, winner of Cat B last time. And there is Jury on screen, and 44 seconds further back, Ketley, Empson. Small group now, just the two BCC riders in that group. And 41 seconds further behind Ketley is Collier. And Cat C looks as if Shannon, I would imagine Reed is up the front there somewhere, can't see him at the moment. Might be in this group. Can't see Reed. There he is, in fact. So Reed still leading the charge for category C at 22.3k. Is now overtaking Collier and Cat B. Shannon a further 15 seconds further back. Walker looks as if he's 2 minutes 50 behind Shannon, so was not keeping pace with him. Sampson 31 seconds further back. And in fact the field spreads out pretty quickly. Hindley, I just saw, has he caught up with anyone? No, he's still unfortunately by himself. He's still putting out a reasonable amount of power though. And let's have a look now at Stoneham. Haha, this looks interesting. Stoneham has gone on the attack, has now got a 2-second gap on Cumming and Tabling. Now he typically rides in the bunch, watches and follows, and often wins on the sprint finish. But he has on occasion, when he thinks he's got it, and it looks as if he might this time, gone from a long break. Not long in this one, of course, but he has the strength to do so. Is this a calculated gamble for him? They're not letting him go. They're holding exactly the same power, or watts per kilo. In fact, Stoneham is on 411, Cumming 440, so probably a little bit heavier. Just about to catch Tamsin on the hill. We'll watch this. In fact, we'll see it from her point of view. There is Tamsin, and Stoneham is just about to come flying past. There he is. So Tamsin's doing 11 kilometers per hour. Stoneham is doing 27. Almost 3 times the speed. It's hard to believe, really, but that's what's happening. In fact, there are the two Stonehams on screen, on the right hand side at least. So Stoneham Junior 40 seconds behind Stoneham Senior. I'm not sure he's going to close that gap. He might do in the distance left, but we'll see what happens. 27.1k. Stoneham's gone for another push, taking advantage of this downhill. Will stay with him now until the finish. Tabling still 2 seconds off. Cumming looks as if he's gone pop. Couldn't hold on to the pace of Stoneham and Tabling. Now 15 seconds further back. Don't think he's going to be any trouble. Once they get to the bottom here, it's not long at all until the finish. Stoneham Senior 41 seconds ahead. I don't think he's going to get caught. Or if he does, it might be right on the finish line. But it looks as if Stoneham is going for it. Still pulling away slowly but surely from Tabling. I can't see on the screen behind him. 4 seconds back, 5 seconds back. Looks as if Tabling is backing off from the par. No, he's not. He's going for another kick. There he is in the distance, just about to come onto the bridge. Stoneham Senior 20 seconds ahead. This is going to be very close. Junior now winding it up a little bit. Let's just see where Stoneham Senior is. No, 17 seconds the gap. So the two of them are going to cross the finish line at much the same time. In fact, there he is. Stoneham Senior on screen now, just ahead of Stoneham Junior. That is Angus now. In fact, Marcus is just crossing the finish line. Stoneham up to 12.1, 13.2 watts per kilo. Crosses the line for a great win, tactically well ridden. Tabling is going to come in second, and we'll get Tom and Co. will be the next group. If I can click on him, I will. There is Tom. So it was a brave move from Tabling, I think, out early on in the race. And here goes the sprint for Tom. Everyone else seems to be pulling away from him at the moment, all up to 11, 12 watts per kilo. Tom just breaks 10.5, and he crosses the line next. And let's have a look at Cat B. There is Davis now. Oh, half these riders, at least in the Super Tuck. Davis is not. I'm not sure why not. Well, he's beginning to slow down now anyway, and the gradient's gone. So, does Davis fancy himself? Charles 1 second away. Charles is gaps appeared. I thought he might challenge Davis on this occasion. Doesn't look as if he's going to manage it. Brackey's pulled ahead of Davis, I think. No, it's just Zwift reporting it the wrong way around. Looks as if Davis is still up towards the front. Got to watch for Brackey though. Brackey has pulled ahead quickly now at 14 watts per kilo, pulling away from Davis. I can't see the finish. There it is, just as they come round the corner. Looks as if Davis is trying to beat his nemesis from GGCC. Sandy Thompson. It is, in fact, Brackey that crosses the line first, then Davis, and it looks as if Charles, coming up now, is going to be in third place. And we'll move further back now, catch, I think it will be Jury next. Jury and Roland. No, in fact, Roland is further ahead. 28k, being chased down by, no, not chased down, that's not fair, just the timing's changed on the screen. So that is Scott Rowland now heading towards the finish line just as the gradient flattens out at 28.2 kilometers. Coming up behind though, a further 50 seconds back is Campbell, has pulled away from Jury. Okay, Brada 5 seconds further back with Jury. Can they catch Campbell? This will be an interesting one. There is Campbell just ahead. That gap is closing. I don't think quick enough though. 5 seconds to pick up in about 800 meters is a big ask. But if anyone's going to do it, okay, Brada, Campbell and or Jury, all quite capable, I think. So it looks as if Campbell is going to cross the line next in category B, followed by K. Brada, who's rapidly closing the gap down to 3 seconds. I don't think they're going to catch Campbell though. Let's have a look. Let's see if Jury catches K. Brada. I don't think so. No, it was Campbell. Next race, Walker, is it, I think? Lost them. I just saw Ketley. If I can get back to him. Collier on the downhill. I've lost Ketley. Gone. There he is. Ketley and Impson charging for the finish now. Who's going to get there first? Ketley's got a well-timed sprint in him. In fact, Impson's seen him respond. Ketley up to 11.5 watts per kilo. Impson at 2.6. Doesn't seem quite right. What's going on there? And in fact, it is Ketley. He's got a great win over Impson. It looks as if Impson just sat down and didn't challenge it. Chris Reed now category C up the front. He will be next to finish unless I've missed someone. No, it looks as if he's going to get a good win in Cat C. There is the finish line ahead. Crook from Wickham is going to try and catch him though. And further 20 odd seconds further back is Collier as the finish line comes into view for him. And surprisingly, I wouldn't have expected to see him this far back. He may not be far back, just might be the others are further ahead, but here comes Shannon. No other BCC riders around him as the course now flattens off. And the finish line will come into view for him fairly quickly, or fairly shortly. And behind Shannon, looks as if it's going to be Walker, category B. In fact, we'll just quickly pop over to Lord. Looks as if Lord, as far as I can tell, she will now come up to the finish. Cat D only riding riding one less lap is a better way of putting it than the Cat ABC, but she's coming up now towards the finish line. No other contention around her. Here we have Ware on the downhill at 27.5. It looks like it's a good ride from Ware actually. I'll have to see the results at the end, but I'm not sure if that is the Wilkinson I know. And White just 10 seconds behind Taff on the just cresting the top of that final climb. Starts to go downhill, another little bump up, and then downhill all the way to the finish. That's Taff at 27k, 1800 meters left for him. And there is Telford actually. So it looks as if Lord did, I can confirm, comfortably beat him to the finish. Great result from her. And here we have Hindley still riding by himself, 26.4 on that climb. And May just 9 seconds further back. He will now have sight of Hindley ahead. Not so fortunate for Stoneham. Won't be able to see anyone at this point. Now at 26.3k. And Tamsin 25.3. Steve Plant still wobbling all over the place. I'd be interested to know what's going on there at 23.2. Just come back round to Taft now as he heads down towards the finish line. It looks like a good ride from Sampson behind him though. Let's just have a look. So here we have Measham, Sampson, Nixon. Let's see if we can follow these riders to the finish now. There, that's the three of them. 1, 2. That's Nixon in the Super Tuck. Sampson's not in the Super Tuck. Measham just coming out of it now. So Measham has pulled slightly ahead, but Sampson right next to him. That's Measham, that's Sampson, and Nixon just lost touch with him. So it looks as if it's coming down to Measham and Sampson. 900 meters to go, 45 minutes 55 seconds, so one of the longer races in the series. I can think of only one that is longer at the moment. There may be others, but off the top of my head. And here they go. Finish line will come into view just about now. That's Measham in the front. Sampson, has he got a kick in him to catch up with Measham? Measham up to 6.2, 5.8, 6.3 watts per kilo. It doesn't look like it. It looks as if, in fact, Measham did cross the line ahead of Sampson. And there is Measham just coming in to the finish. Reed on his warm down. I'll have to go back to the start and see. Have a quick look through the field, see where they've got to, and then we'll finish for tonight. So Jones now at 26.8k, Telford 20.3, so he is coming up towards the finish. Stoneham 27.7. And a good ride by the looks of it from May, further 9 seconds ahead, 27.8. Hindley 28.4. He will be the next rider to cross the line, so we will let him cross the line. And I think we have one more Beaconsfield Cricket Club race within the league on Thursday. I'm sure we have. So see you all then. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.